Hey guys, Josh here and welcome back on Kickstarter. I just uploaded a video where I was going through the Kickstarter campaign for the ranchers and something just got brought to my attention. It is something pretty important, I think, to take into account if you're considering to back the ranchers on Kickstarter. And it is the fact that most of the campaign is actually plagiarized from Coral Island's campaign. It was a very successful Kickstarter campaign for an upcoming farming game. A lot of people are really excited for that game, such as myself. And before we even start looking at these two campaigns and discussing it, I think there's nothing wrong with taking inspiration from a successful project. Everybody takes inspiration from others. It's a completely normal things for humans to do. However, there is a line that I think shouldn't be crossed when it comes to plagiarizing. After a certain point, it's just not very ethical, in my opinion. And it just shows maybe laziness or maybe a lack of effort and maybe also a lack of respect for the original creators. Yeah, that's what we're gonna take a look at today. So let's look at these two campaigns. So these are the thumbnails for the campaigns. So we got the ranchers funded in less than 18 hours, Coral Island funded in less than 36 hours with the same little kind of stamp. But, I mean, it doesn't mean anything. Let's just start. So, Coral Island starts with stretch goals. And the first thing I'll say, I looked at a lot of Kickstarter campaigns, and a lot of them will start with the stretch goals. So, that's pretty normal. Nothing uncommon here. The Ranchers also starts with the stretch goals. By the way, if anybody's confused, on the left side, you can see the Ranchers campaign. On the right side, you can see Coral Island. The first stretch goal is the basic funding of the game. So on Coral Island, it says our journey begins, and there's a little sprout. And once the goal got reached, there was a little check mark added. So for the ranchers, it says our journey begins. There's a little sprout, and they also added the little check mark. So check marks are pretty common for stretch goals. They're both farming games, so it's okay to have a little sapling, a little sprout. So maybe it's just a coincidence. It's just a coincidence. And the stretch goals are actually pretty different. So everything seems good here. So let's just scroll down to the next section. So the next section for Coral Island is called The Game. So of course it is a Kickstarter campaign, so they will have to talk about the game. So it's the same for the ranchers. It's called The Game. They both describe the games a little bit differently, but it ends up being kind of the same because they're both farming games. So they're going to say like raise animals, grow crops, all of that. So nothing really special here. Then you scroll down a little bit. There's one picture, and then you see all of their links. So Steam, Discord, Twitter, Press Kit. And here we've got Steam and Discord for the ranchers. So you scroll down a little bit more for Coral Island. It says Meet the Islanders. Let's scroll with the ranchers. It says Meet the Villagers. And then you've got little circles with the characters' faces. And it's really the same style on both campaigns with the circle, and the head is like, the top of the head is going out of the circle, and it's just a very specific thing. It's just maybe just a funny coincidence that they're both presenting their characters in the exact same ways. But there's a lot more characters for Coral Island. There's only 8 for the ranchers. And also for Coral Island, when you scroll down at the bottom of the villagers list, it says, and many more on Coral Island with the Coral Island logo. So let's just scroll a little bit more on the ranchers, and it says, and many more on the ranchers with the ranchers logo. So it's just kind of funny that they both have the same exact thing at the bottom of their villagers list. Maybe great minds think alike, as we say. So they got the same idea. So if you scroll down, you can see the features. So we're going to scroll down with the ranchers. You can see the features. So build your dream farm in Coral Island, build your ranch in the ranchers. And now things start to be a little bit different. So Coral Island will talk about agriculture, whereas the ranchers will talk about animals. So let's just scroll down a bit more for the ranchers and go into the crops section. So you may notice that the icons for the crops are kind of similar, but they are also different. You can see a little plot of land, like a little bit of soil, and then the crop on top. They both have the same kind of vision. And on Coral Island, there is a description that says crops are seasonal, which means they only grow in a specific season. However, some crops can be planted in multiple seasons and be reharvested every several days. With the ranchers, it says crops are seasonal, which means they only grow in a specific season. However, some crops can be planted in multiple seasons and be harvested several times. So the few last words are different, but kind of a funny coincidence. And then if you scroll down a little bit, you've got fruit plants. So avocado, banana, dragon fruit. It says fruit plants take 11 days to mature. They are bi-seasonal, able to grow 2 seasons out of the year, and will wither off-season, does not need to be watered after maturity. So let's go to the fruit trees with the ranchers. So fruit trees are bi-seasonal. They are able to grow 2 seasons out of the year and will wither off-season, do not need to be watered after maturity. So it is a bit different because in Coral Island, you've got fruit plants and fruit trees, but the descriptions are a little bit too close to be a coincidence. And also the icons are very, very similar. So you've got the little trees, like cartoony trees with tree fruits on them. So now with Coral Island, we're going to go down to ranching. And with the ranchers, we're going to go up to ranching, to raising animals. So it says here in Coral Island, make a living by caring for animals and raising livestock. Though you'll first need to build a coop or barn to house them, and the coop or barn is in bold because pretty important. These farm animals can be left outside during the day and will return inside as night falls. And here in the ranchers, it says animals can be bred, though you'll first need to build a coop or barn to house them. And the coop or barn is also in bold. So yeah, just one little thing to note. So let's scroll down a little bit more on Coral Island and let's go to Fisher's Paradise and let's scroll down to fishing with the ranchers. So actually for this part, the descriptions are a little bit different. They both mention how specific fish can be caught in different areas and depending on the weather and season. But honestly, that's something most farming games have. And then they've got little pictures of the fish. Once again, it does look pretty similar, but doesn't mean anything really for that, honestly. So let's go down to the and more section for Coral Island. And with that, we're going to scroll to the many more section with the ranchers. So in Coral Island, they say you can improve the town, festivals, pets, weather and time, cooking, and quests. And in the ranchers, we've got pets, festivals, dynamic weather and time, romancing the villagers, cooking, skill trees, and quests and contracts. And let's read some of them just for fun. So festivals in Coral Island. Join the local community in the Cherry Blossom Festival, annual beach cleanup, and many more. There are 2 festivals each season that you can participate in. In the ranchers, join the local community in many festivities during the year. Challenge your farming, cooking, crafting, and hunting skill. There are 2 festivals each season that you can participate in. Now let's take a look at the weather. In Coral Island, the forecast includes sun, wind, rain, storm, and snow. Coral Island also features a day and night cycle with dynamic lighting. Set the pace by adjusting the passage of time with a time slider. In the ranchers, the forecast includes sun, wind, rain, fog, storm, and snow. So they added fog, so that's one new thing. The ranchers also feature a day and night cycle with dynamic lighting. The only difference here is that in the ranchers, you cannot adjust the passage of time with a time slider. So let's go down to the cooking. So Coral Island says, build a kitchen and start cooking with over 70 recipes to learn, including popia lore, sorry for the mispronunciation, and cauliflower casserole. Gather all cooking utensils and try them all. The rancher says, build a kitchen and start cooking. With many recipes to learn, you can use your own ranch crops, fruit, meat to cook delicious dishes and share them with the community. So there's a little bit of difference here, but the beginning is exactly the same. Next, let's go to the quest. So Coral Island says, embark on adventures. There are elaborate quests that will give you cutscenes and storylines, and there are simple quests. Rack up relationship points and get paid. The rancher says, embark on adventures or simply fulfill the many shops and villagers need. There are elaborate quests that will let you discover many secrets of the rancher's world, and there are businesses contract that you can have with some local shops and villagers to make your ranch a profitable business. So once again, they changed the ending a little bit, but the beginning is extremely similar. And then things get a little bit different. Coral Island talks about the location, the lore and the story, some of the characters, and all of that. And then it goes to the soundtrack. So same with the ranchers, they talk about their own features like decorating your house, the open world, the dungeons, the co-op, And then you've got the soundtrack. Yeah, they both put their soundtrack at the same exact spot in their campaign. And then you've got the rewards for both of the games. For Coral Island, you've got Supporter and Early Bird. And then you've got, if you want the game, it's $20 and it's called Just the Game. And then you go to the Ranchers. The first tier is €30. It's called Just the Game. Play Coral Island when it launches into early access. Get the Kickstarter exclusive Farmer Outfit set. And for the Ranchers, get the game when it launches on early access. You will also get an exclusive premium clothing set for your character. Next in Coral Island, we've got the $30 Alpha Farmer Pack. Help us shape the game by gaining access to the Alpha. Receive the Discord title Alpha Farmer. And in the Ranchers, €45 Alpha Ranchers. Help us shape the game by playing the Ranchers Alpha and Beta and gain access to the Alpha Ranchers Discord group. If you'd like to have 2 games, Coral Island offers the Double Pack. When one just isn't enough, get additional copies and rewards to give to a friend or keep it to yourself. You can do the same with the Ranchers, but it's a little bit more expensive, €65. You can get the Double Alpha Ranchers pack. When one just isn't enough, get additional copies and rewards to give to a friend and enjoy the Ranchers in co-op together. So overall, it's very similar. So Coral Island after has the Deluxe Farmer Pack, Pioneers Pack, Founders Pack, Pet Designer Pack, and Character Designer Pack. Same for the Ranchers. So there's the Deluxe Ranchers Pack, Pioneers Pack, Founders Pack, and there's also the Pet Designer Pack and Character Designer Pack. They just added the Vehicle and Chef Pack in there. So you can't tell me this is just a coincidence. It's really just copied of the Coral Island campaign. And both of the Character Designer Pack, they're like 3,500 for some reason. And let's go down. So if you scroll a bit more, you can get the add-ons for both Coral Island and the Ranchers. You can get extra game keys. You can get a soundtrack. You can get some extra pets. It just look a little bit similar. It's not exactly the same, but yeah, it is pretty similar. The next section is development and platforms. So for Coral Island, the current plan is to release Coral Island for Steam on the Windows platform first. Since we've passed our console stretch goals, Coral Island will also be coming to Switch, PlayStation, and Xbox. And for the Ranchers, our current plan is to release the Ranchers on Windows platform first. We'll be coming later to other platforms as well. They don't specify which one. It doesn't seem to be a stretch goal, but I talked about that in my previous video. But anyway, let's go down to languages. Coral Island says, we understand that localization is very important. The Ranchers also says, we do understand that playing the Ranchers in your language is very important. Coral Island will launch into early access with Bahasa, Indonesia, and English support. Shortly after, we will update the game and support to additional 8 languages seen below. And for the Ranchers, it's very similar. We will start by supporting 8 languages seen below. Additional languages support will be added throughout game updates. Next, we've got about Stairway Games and who we are for Red Pills Studio. So this is actually a little bit different. And then you've got the timeline, but they are a little bit different for each game. But one thing to notice is that, for example, here with Coral Island, they put the timeline in one little graphic, and then there are links to Reddit, Facebook, and the website. And then it's kind of the same idea for the Ranchers, and then there are links to the Steam Discord and like all social media. And then there's a partnership with Backer Camp, little logo here, and promoted by Backer Kit for the Ranchers. And then they go into the risks and challenges. I've always been very skeptical of the Ranchers, so I was looking forward to reading the risks and challenges and seeing if they were going to talk about what I was worried. But actually, not really. They just copied what Coral Island says. So Coral Island says, we've been working on Coral Island for close to 15 months now. For the Ranchers, it says, we've been working on the Ranchers for close to 6 years now. And then it goes on to say a few more things. And then Coral Island says in the next paragraph, the 2 biggest challenges we see ahead for the project are developing alongside community feedback and, provided we reach the stretch goal, implementing the multiplayer component into the game. For the Ranchers, it says, the 2 biggest challenges we see ahead for the project are developing alongside community feedback and, provided we reach the stretch goal, implementing the live ops component, season content updates, companion app into the game. So that sentence is way too specific to be random to be a coincidence. And then it says, depending on the amount and type of feedback we receive, the dates for milestones and the development timeline may shift. Should dates shift, we'll openly communicate this to the community. And then the rancher says, depending on the amount and type of feedback we receive, the dates for milestones on the development timeline may shift. Should dates shift, we'll openly communicate this to the community. So that's all I wanted to say for this video. I made another video covering the whole campaign for the ranchers. But with this, I'll let you guys make your own decisions. But for me, this, on top of the other red flags I pointed out in my other video, it just shows laziness and also a huge lack of respect for the developers of Coral Island who worked really hard to make that Kickstarter campaign, and also a huge lack of respect for the players and the backers that are putting money into the game. In my opinion, just in my opinion, maybe you might think differently, but someone who reads that Ranchers campaign will assume that developers of the Ranchers actually came up with these words and actually wrote these words and put time into them, and you would think that's really what the developers think, but that's not what they think. They just pretty much copy-pasted a campaign from another game, and I think that's all I'm gonna say for this game. So personally, it's not a project I would like to support, and yeah, that's gonna be pretty much it for me, guys. Leave a like and subscribe. Usually I would say if you'd like to see more The Ranchers content, but I'm not sure I want to make more content on this game. I'm not interested in promoting this game, but still subscribe if you'd like to see more farming game content, and I'll see you all in the next video.